Support for Radio Friends comes from Roseheart Hypnotherapy, serving Central Missouri since 2007. They specialize in pain management, pre- and post-medical procedures, fears, phobias, and increasing performance and success in every area of life. Athletes needing sports hypnosis to improve their ability will be pleased to know that Roseheart Hypnotherapy specializes in neurofeedback and is the only certified OptiBrain train and golf practitioner in Missouri. Call Roseheart Hypnotherapy at 888-604-9997 or visit mohyp.com and experience true success. Good morning and welcome to Radio Friends on Friday, July 20th. Good to have you here.
Hello.
And Friday, July 20th, is a very, very special day.
Yes.
In space exploration.
Yes, and that's why I brought today a original editorial cartoon that actually ran on the 22nd, but it refers to events on July 20th and July 21st, 1969. Mm-hmm. And so we are going to have this editorial cartoon about the moon landing and the first man to step on the moon. We are going to have this up on an easel in our gallery on today, Friday, and also on Saturday. So if you'd like to come and see this this original editorial cartoon that was created at the time by Tom Engelhardt that ran in the Post-Dispatch, we want to invite you to come see that. We also have a book of Tom Engelhardt's cartoons that includes the moon landing cartoon.
You know what's so hard to believe? That was 49 years ago.
I know. So the 50th
49
is coming.
years ago.
Yeah.
And I remember it like it was yesterday. You were too young.
I was too young.
You were too young. You were just, 4 or 5 years old?
Yeah, so I just don't remember it.
But I remember it so well, and maybe a lot of people listening can remember that too. It was a Sunday afternoon when the Eagle landed on the moon. And then I remember that evening, Sunday night, it was a warm summer evening, and I went out in the backyard, and I looked up at the moon, and I saw that beautiful moon up there, and it was so hard for me to fathom that two human beings were on the surface of the moon at that time.
Yeah, I mean, it must have been incredible.
It was absolutely incredible.
And actually, I was going to ask you, what a curious thing about this cartoon, I think, is that instead of showing us the moon as a full moon, he shows it as a crescent. Do you remember if it was a crescent at the time?
I don't remember that. I just remember looking up at the moon and seeing the moon. And if it was a crescent, you can see the other part of the outline of it. But I remember it was a clear sky, and I was just enthralled by it. And then listen, I'm holding a picture of this up. Explain for people listening on the radio.
Yeah, it's an interesting interpretation of what had happened. It's called From Daedalus to Armstrong, the Dream Fulfilled. And you see an astronaut with his hand up, kind of in a symbol of peace or greeting. And he's at the top of the image. And then below you see a little figure with wings, a little human figure with wings. And if you know your Greek mythology, you will know that Daedalus was the great craftsperson who built wings that actually worked. And he had been imprisoned by King Minos, and he and his son escaped from prison with these wings. But
this is a true story.
No.
Okay.
I mean, this is a mythological story. Yes, because what he had done was he had built the maze for the Minotaur.
Well, it could be true. It could be true.
But so Daedalus was a great craftsman, built the maze for the Minotaur, and the King Minos didn't want anybody else to find out those secrets, so he imprisoned him. And then Daedalus escaped with his son and was able to create wings. But Icarus, his son, was too daring, too brash as a child, and he immediately started flying up towards the sun, and his wings melted, and he crashed to Earth, which is kind of interesting because, of course, the Apollo, the moon landing, they crashed to Earth too in the water, which was, so there's an interesting parallel there. But I think the interesting thing to me about this choice of imagery and this choice of title is that he really takes it from being just an American triumph to a triumph for all humanity by bringing back the ancient Greek. Homer mentions Daedalus, and of course we know the story from Ovid's Metamorphosis. It takes it way back into our history and our constant desire to try to reach for the stars, reach for that celestial space. And finally, we had done this, and so. Engelhardt celebrates it as something that we can all share in,
right?
And it's kind of a very beautiful image.
You know, what it is, and you've got a book with many of his drawings. Can I see the book a minute?
Yeah, this is a book that came out a few years back to celebrate Tom Engelhardt when he donated a large number of his cartoons, so over 7,000.
So this is a cartoon history of America, 1962 to 2001.
Yeah. So this and so what we did for this exhibit was pick 3 or 4 cartoons for each year to kind of tell the story of those periods, and we titled the book 4 Turbulent Decades because it's a turbulent time.
Here's one that goes back to Richard Nixon.
Not too long after the moon landing, because of course Richard Nixon was president during the moon landing. We often think of Kennedy, but Nixon was president when the United States actually landed on the moon. But the image he showed is a picture of Nixon before the Watergate scandal, and he's got his hands up in a victory symbol.
And then he's out on the limb.
And then he's out on a limb with his hands up in a different way. So lots of interesting cartoons, but dealing with those great events that, civil rights, the assassination of Kennedy, the Vietnam War, all the way up to the fall of the Berlin Wall. And the very last cartoon in the book is 9/11. So that was the last. He had by then retired, but he occasionally came back and did substituted. So he, even as an older cartoonist, was able to comment on 9/11.
Now, do you have or will you have many of his cartoons on display?
No, we will just have this one at the moment because we are right now. We're actually putting up an exhibit of Thomas Hart Benton's war paintings, and I'll talk to you about that next time I come in. But and so a cartoon exhibit is a pretty big deal. When we have done it, it takes a lot of work and we take up a lot of gallery space. But we felt like this was such an important anniversary, and we really wanted to share this cartoon with people like you who remember that life-changing moment. I mean, it's really interesting that just you can remember it like it was yesterday.
Like it was yesterday, and it seemed at one point that everybody in the world was united around that. It was a very communal feeling. It was a time, and even though this was accomplished by our country, by the Americans, it felt like it was a worldwide experience.
Yeah, and that's what I like about this cartoon. There's no American flag in this particular image, even though it was something that people saw.
Yes.
But instead, it's the person waving hello.
Right. All right. So if you want more information, State Historical Society, JOAN STACK, you're closed on Mondays, but open?
Yes, we'll be open today if you want to come see the cartoon, and tomorrow on Saturday.
Okay. All right. JOAN STACK, thank you so much for coming by.
Well,
Always a pleasure to have you here. Tomorrow, or Monday, Science on Tap and Columbia Art League. Drop me an email, pepperp@missouri.edu. Bye-bye.